Hello and welcome to Secrets of Organ Playing podcast. We are your hosts, Vidas Pinkevičius
and Aušra Pinkevičienė.
We've been mastering secrets of organ playing for more than 20 years and sharing them on this blog since 2011.
On this show, which we create from our home in Vilnius, Lithuania, we strive to help you grow in every area of organ playing, including practice, technique, repertoire, sight reading, hymn playing, improvisation, composition, music theory, harmony, and many others.
Our hope is to help you become a complete musician, or what we call as total organist, a program which we have created to help you reach your dreams faster than you would do on your own.
If you are new here, we invite you to subscribe to receive free updates of this blog at organduo.lt. By subscribing, you will also receive free video how to master any organ composition and 10-day organ playing mini course.
And now let's go to the podcast for today. Thank you so much, Hans, for joining in this conversation. I'm very delighted to be able to talk with you about your upcoming International Gothenburg Organ Academy this summer. It's been so long since we chatted, and it's so good to hear your voice. Thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be part of your show, Vidas, and to have this opportunity to talk to you.
Wonderful. It's I first met you back in 2000 in the same academy, basically, when Aušra and I first traveled to Gothenburg to witness the wonderful inauguration of the North German Baroque organ in the Örgryte new church. And it was the amazing experience. I remember that we both talked with Aušra that the first time we heard that organ, it was like we died and went to heaven. The same probably amazing effect to many other listeners and organists who were witnessing that day and that occasion. Those multiple concerts during the day, various early keyboard instruments were spectacular, so difficult to play for beginners like us, but nevertheless absolutely fascinating to get hands-on experience and actually life-changing experience for both of us, because that's where our international career started.
Thank you. Well, we are really grateful that we had the opportunity to build the instruments, do the research and share it. And it's very nice to hear that it really meant something to you and that you got inspiration and direction in life.
Yes, it's so 20 years have passed, right, since 2000. And this summer, you're planning basically like anniversary edition of the Academy, right?
Yes, it's true. Actually, the Academy has developed in the last 2 years, so we now call it a festival, and it's moved from August, where it used to take place many years. So it takes place in the second week of October.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's because it also serves today as an organ festival for the city and for all ages of people. So we continue to do exactly what we did in the past, to keep the excellence for colleagues, for performers, for students, and the opportunity for organ builders and scholars to gather and engage in important discussions, presentations, new discoveries, and enjoy wonderful music and company, of course. But we also added other functions like directing the festival to the local and regional audiences. So we have parallel programs for children and different groups of people interested in early music, people interested in new music. So it's a kind of multi-layer festival that continues to include the Academy with workshops and concerts and conferences that we used to have. Mm-hmm. And one really important and focal point this fall is, of course, the 20-year anniversary of the North German Baroque organ.
Yes, Hans, do you remember the idea behind the entire academy movement for you? What inspired you for you to start it, and what was the main, basically, motivation? Could you share with us?
Well, it became naturally a need for us working in Göteborg, since we had experienced through colleagues and guest teachers like Harald Vogel, Jacques van Oortmerssen, and the professor of musicology in Göteborg, Jan Ling, that we were in a transition from, let's say, conservatory teaching, where your teacher is the master, and you are, of course, very pleased to gain as much knowledge and expertise and abilities, artistic performance abilities as possible from your teacher. But now, in addition, there was this idea that we need to get knowledge. We need to get historically informed perspectives on performance, analytical insights in the music, and then move to a process where we actually put all these parameters together, guided by our teachers, to make independent and personal choices based on historical information, experience that you gain by playing instruments that match the music. And that kind of move, this kind of paradigmatic shift, required also meeting places where you could get additional perspectives from people who were working in the field, where you could get critical discussions, where you could learn from each other. So when we started in 1994, the vision we had was to have an event, create a meeting place for organists, scholars, different ages, organ builders, and of course the people who loved the organ music and the instrument itself.
Right, Hans. The first academy was also very spectacular. I remember seeing a yearbook of that academy, like a publication afterwards about this symposium, right, from the 1994 year, and it was dedicated for the Haga church organ, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Very important instrument.
Yeah, that was the beginning. That was the starting point. The Brumbaugh organ, the organ built by John Brumbaugh in Oregon, in mean tone, 2 manual and pedal instrument for the Haga Church. That was really a remarkable and fantastic beginning. And during that festival, we also had the pleasure to work with an original historical organ that was brought to Göteborg thanks to enthusiasts, and in particular the organ builders Tostared, Kyrkoilfabrik, and Tore Johansson, the director. And it was an English romantic organ built in 1871 by Henry Willis III. So this instrument was brought to the new building of the school, where we had an organ hall but no instrument yet. So we based the first edition, the first organ academy that we did in '94, on these two perspectives: the romantic tradition and the early tradition, focused on the two instruments, the Brumbaugh organ in the Haga Church and the Willis organ, at that time placed at Artisten, the School of Music and Musicology.
It's so amazing that nowadays this early music movement has spread across the world, right? And people of all ages and probably all occupations can get familiar with different style, historical schools of organ composition and organ building, and all of that is required in if you want to play that early gems, early music as close to composers' intentions as possible, right? And so nowadays it's a common practice to play with articulation, with good posture, with the right kind of early keyboard fingering and those registrations ideas. But in those days where you started, it was kind of a new idea, fresh, and probably you met quite a few resistance instances, right?
Yes, it's correct. I mean, the pioneers in the field, going back to the mid-20th century, and in organ performance, Harald Vogel in the around 1970, in the 1980s, Jacques van Oortmerssen in the Netherlands. All these pioneers had started to offer masterclasses, courses in different places, and mostly with historical organs, that were played. But I think we were in that phase where these ideas entered the conservatories or the academia, the university sphere. So I think that was a great opportunity for us to contribute to this development. And we certainly met some skepticism, but I think, that since the pioneers had did the work for at least 2-3 decades, what dominated was the fascination and the curiosity for these new aspects, the possibility to explore at relevant instruments. So I don't remember so much of resistance and skepticism. I more remember the sense of that we were together in an enterprise to discover and explore.
Right, and of course, through that decades of work and practical applications, you probably gathered enormous amount of supporters and fans, and basically network of musicologists, organ builders, organists, researchers, students, and amateurs even, who love what you do and love your ideas, right? So could you share a little bit what you have learned from interacting with your network through those decades?
I think I've learned so much all through these years, from skilled colleagues, from curious and wonderful, talented students, and a network of organ lovers and specialists. And I mean, just getting the Brumbo organ to Göteborg was widening our perspectives, creating the network to North America. And many of our participating presenters, performers, and so came from North America, where the historically informed performance, scholarship and performance really developed, I think, more strongly than in Europe in the first phase. And as a result of what we developed in Göteborg and these networks, my life also changed. So I got to work in North America at the Eastman School of Music for almost 12 years, and I got to work in Germany in Abschnittgeland with Harald Vogel and many wonderful colleagues there for a long period as well. And then finally in Copenhagen with Bine Brundorf before I returned 2 years ago to Gothenburg.
Right. So Hans, who from those wonderful connections and wonderful experts in organ, early movement, and basically experts in organ playing are coming this year for the Academy and Festival?
Well, we have among the people I mentioned, Bine Brundorf from Denmark is going to be with us. And we have Nathan Laube coming from the United States, and Hans Ola Eriksson from Canada. And we have the performers including Annette Richards and also Catalina Wiechens presenting organetto, a variety of performers and people who also have important ideas and perspectives on performance and development of music and instrument building. And the program is not yet completely finished, so we will launch the program in about 4 weeks from now.
Yes, and of course, every time the Academy Week meets and the festival meets, you have a special theme, right? So what is the theme for this year?
In the fall 2019, we had the organ as a mechanic musical marvel, and we presented a world sensation, the Klaviorganom, which was built and created by Göteborg Baroque with Mats Arvidsson. And next fall in 2020, we shift the perspective. So we will talk about the organ as a mirror of its time, as an instrument with emblems, with stories. And this is, of course, an opportunity to share the story around the 20 years with the North German Baroque organ as well. But the emblematic and storytelling and the aspect of the organ as a bearer of culture, that's what's going to be the focal point. Mm-hmm. And we do have an additional, somewhat unexpected new instrument to share in the fall as well, and that is the Lundén organ in the Vasa Church, which has been there since 1909, but underwent a couple of changes. And in 2002, the instrument was restored, and we could enjoy its tonal original landscape and so forth, but it has had lots of technical problems, and some things that were planned to be done in 2002 were not done. So actually right now, the Vasa Church is an organ building workshop where the skilled staff from Rieger Orgelbau are doing a complete overhaul of the instrument, taking everything apart. So we will also be able to hear reconstructively restored Lundén organ from 1909 in the festival in the fall.
Wonderful. I remember when Osha and I came to the Organ Academy back in 2000 and 2002, one of the wonderful things was to touch those instruments ourselves, right? And everyone participant had a possibility to practice on those instruments. Hans, are you planning to let participants also get acquainted to the instruments themselves so that they can practice and learn from those instruments?
Yeah, it's always possible to choose workshops and go to different kinds of instruments. So during the week in the festival, we have morning workshops where you choose your topic and you go to a 2 or 3 day workshop with the instruments we have. And then in the second half of the week, you choose another topic. So morning workshops are for people who really want to play, and they will get experience, and they also get an opportunity to practice, although that for practical reasons will be rather limited in time since we have such a rich program. In the afternoons of this day, we have everybody coming together, and then we have presentations and kind of lecture recitals and discussions. So it's intense, wonderful sessions between 2 and 5 in the afternoon, where we learn from each other, everybody gathering together. So that's kind of the daily thing. In the middle of the day, we have always an short organ concert with a soup and social gathering in the Haga Church. And in the evening concerts, which are normally divided between 2 players or sometimes with an ensemble and performers and thematically oriented.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those recitals are amazing in 1 or 2 places. I remember in Artisten, right? You had a 2-part recital, and people had to switch, one in one hall, another in another hall, and the audience had to experience both performance in the same evening. Are you planning to do this kind of thing too?
Oh yeah, that's going to happen one evening, you know. And in other evenings, we will be in one place, like the Vasa Church or the Örgryte Church with the North German Baroque organ, and we will hear 2 different programs of 40 minutes or something each, mm-hmm. with a little interval in between.
Yeah, that's really pinnacle of musical experience. Those also early music ensembles, right? They come with their early music instruments, and you really feel like you went to heaven. That's at least how Osha and I felt. So it's really something that people will definitely enjoy, early music lovers at least.
Yeah, you're going to hear the Göteborg Baroque Ensemble in the festival, and they're going to feature a program with music by Bieber and the Klavierorganom, and this is the Viennese music culture, which is one focal point in the program, because that's also the culture and the place where we know that the combined instrument of keyboard, harpsichord, and organ played an important role.
Right. Of course, you cannot really learn to play just one instrument alone, like an organ, without knowing clavichord and harpsichord also. It all connects in a wonderful keyboard technique of that time. And probably everybody, experts in those days, in 17th century, 18th century, and 16th century, were experts in multiple keyboard instruments as well, right?
Yes, and I think that's musically and also pedagogically a wonderful approach. And the master's education, the master's program at the Göteborg University, where Karin Nelson and Joel Speerstra are teaching, has this approach. So you study organ and organ-related keyboard instruments of your own choice. So it is very natural here, and that's also why we always include it in the festival program, that you have opportunities to play organs of these varying personalities and specifications and features, but also the related keyboard instruments, so the clavichords, harpsichords, or fortepianos, or the harmonias from the 19th century. All these instruments, they really challenge you in a positive way to approach the organ with a different sense, and maybe even technically, choreographically, another approach to the performance and to the playing.
That's right. We should not neglect the harmonium, which was so popular in the 19th century. And I remember Joris Verdin talking about that too, of course. And by the way, Hans, it's really interesting to have experienced classes and workshops in improvisation too. Are you planning to have concerts and workshops in the field of organ improvisation as well this year?
Oh yeah, we always include improvisation to some degree, and the natural realm wherein improvisation developed in organ playing was, of course, in the liturgy, with hymn playing and liturgical playing. And we're going to have Sitze de Vries as one of our guests, and he's going to teach hymn playing and improvisation. And we are also going to have improvisation and composition workshops. So Hans-Ola Eriksson and Thomas Lacotte from Paris, successor of Messiaen in La Trinité, they are also going to be part of the teaching team and as performers present in the program.
Wonderful. You mentioned Sitze de Vries and Hans-Ola Eriksson. Both of them were guests on this podcast early on. And when I heard Sitze de Vries improvise online in his videos, I was telling to myself and Osha, I've got to invite him for a conversation that he could reveal some of his secrets. It's like probably like a Buxtehude resurrected in 21st century. As well, of course, Hans-Ola Eriksson, well renowned composer and basically pioneer of technological development and combining organ art. And I was so fortunate to have both of them on the podcast today, in previous seasons. So wonderful that you are inviting them back also at the Academy. So Hans, of course, meeting those wonderful experts and professors is not very easy, and organizing these activities around that week is also quite challenging. Can you share with us a little bit what has been a challenge for you about organizing such a magnificent event?
Yeah, I think the programs of the festival in Göteborg usually develops from some shared ideas that emerge from conversations with colleagues, and then the contents, according to the organ as a mirror of its time and so forth, is usually developed also in a kind of dialogue with the people who are involved in research, or instrument building projects that are going on within our context in Gothenburg. So we have a couple of interesting projects of that kind, and the most substantial and in some ways maybe most spectacular is the building of a new concert hall organ for the famous concert hall in Gothenburg with the Swedish National Orchestra, the Göteborg Symphony. And that instrument is going to be inaugurated in 2021 in the festival in October. And we've been working on that for almost 4 years with a reference group. You know, the kind of model that we developed, that when you do a project, you're not just one person involved, but you bring together people who have different aspects of expertise and who are able to prioritize and share a common goal. And we have a reference group, wonderful such international reference group for the concert hall organ project. And we have met twice a year, and we're going to work next time in the summer when the complete organ arrives here and the voicing of the organ really starts to support the organ builders from Austria, Schwarzach, the Rieger Orgelbau, who are building this first-class world instrument for the concert hall.
That's right, Hans. For such a amazing and complicated project, one person or one entity organization is not able to do everything on that level, right? You have to have many minds coming together and sharing information.
So then, you know, the people who are involved in the reference group, they will be part of the festival. And then Joel Speerstrass had a research project which involved the claviorganum duo performance on duo instruments, and then also new compositions for the Baroque organ that we celebrate. So we will have that kind of people who've been involved in creating new compositions and do these kind of research projects. So it's like, you know, you have networks that are working regularly with projects or in contact with us, and in discussions and so forth, we develop a program that then turn out with its multifaceted layers of concerts and workshops and thematic ideas.
Excellent, Hans. Could you repeat now the dates for the festival so that our listeners could mark their calendars and get ready?
Yeah, we have the opening concert on Friday, October 9th. And then we continue for 10 days, actually almost 12 days. So 2 weekends and a week in between. So October 18th, we'll have the closing event. And the Academy is organized in such a way that if you want to come for the first weekend, then the focal point is the North German Baroque organ, the 20-year anniversary of that instrument, with lots of concerts and some lectures and stuff. And then if you want to come for the workshops and to really study, play, and experience, then you come from Monday through Friday. And the last weekend is devoted to new music, new aspects, and also the new concert hall organ. And within that festival frame, we also are going to celebrate Torsten Nilsson, Swedish organist composer in Stockholm in the Oscarschurch, who should have been 100 years old if he would have been alive. So the design is such that you have 12 days of organ feast, but you can sort of choose if you cannot be there all that period, which focal point is most interesting to you.
That's wonderful, Hans. Before we end, can you share with us anything else that is exciting for our global audience?
Yeah, of course, we are aware that when we now have moved the festival to October, it is difficult for people in North America, maybe in Asia, to get out of their semester studies and join the festival program. So we felt we should create something that gives an opportunity also to those who have more experience to really play the North German Baroque organ, to do intense studies in early music with the Schnitger tradition of tonal landscape and technical facilities and everything, you know. So we do this in August, the second week. So it's the 9th through the 15th that we have the Sweelinck Academy that is organized by the Göteborg International Organ Academy. And it's for a small group of particularly interested performers, maybe a little bit older, experienced, some colleagues also who can come and apply. So we cannot hold too many people because we have also scheduled practice times all around the clock. And there are clavichords available. There are the 2 instruments, the North German Baroque organ in Örgryte and also the Baroque organ in Haga. And this summer, we are also going to have a youth Sweelinck Organ Academy. And I'm teaching most of this program, but we also have Joel Spiestra, Ulrika Davidsson, and also Lars Storm, who are going to be teachers in the Teenage Academy and to be the group of supporting faculty and members of this academy. So I hope we had a wonderful first session last summer that we can continue and create this kind of opportunity for those who have no opportunity time to come in October, and for those who are particularly interested in, you know, really playing and exploring in a less intense overall academy frame, but intense in the sense of that you really get into the world of the 4-manual and pedal Sweelinck style instrument in the Örgryte New Church.
Fantastic. So Hans, for closing our conversation, can you share with us the link where people could find out more about Organ Festival and the Academy?
Yes, you should. You are most welcome to visit our homepage, which is the www.organacademy, in one word, organacademy.se. And if you come to the Organ Academy, you will see that our association, in many ways like GOArt at the university used to do, our association has a lot of activities. So the festival is one annual major activity where we hope to see many of you, of course, as regular visitors, but we also have research projects of various kinds. We have instrument building projects. We have the work that we do for recruitment of new organists for Sweden. I mean, we have a country with more than 2,000 churches, and we have a church that employs full-time church musicians, but we really need a lot of new organists. The next 10 to 15 years, we're expecting that we need to employ new organists, maybe, you know, up to 800 or something in that period. And we are not at all educating enough people. So this is also an important aspect around the world. If you're looking for an opportunity and would be interested in coming to Sweden for a period of your lives and working with organ culture, with music in the church and so forth, this might be something to consider. It's possible to live, to make your living from being an organist and church musician in Sweden. Wonderful. So you can see a lot of different activities, and we also regularly post and communicate aspects. We will have one project going this year, and that is an 18th century database with a selection of 9-10 instruments, historical organs in Sweden, ranging from the early 18th century to 1806 in Gammalkil, instruments that are really well preserved and well restored. So we are presenting a database where you can get just general information, but you can also sort of visit the instrument through a video walk. You can hear Sitze de Vries improvise on the instruments, and you can listen to interviews with some people who really care about the instrument, or who have gotten really important aspects of their lives influenced by the instruments. And of course, if you're an organ builder, if you're interested in organ research, you can go to detailed information, measurements of pipework, of organ cases, drawings, photographs, many photographs. So the whole documentation effort with detailed technical documentations is also going to be accessible through this 18th century database, And that's a project that we are incredibly pleased and happy to launch this year. So watch out, visit our homepage, and you can follow.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Hans, and good luck in your amazing organ adventures. And I hope to speak to you again.
Thank you very much, Vidas. I hope to see you and speak to you soon again. And good luck with your wonderful show and all the wonderful things that you do for the organ art.
Thank you. This blog is supported by Total Organist, the most comprehensive organ training program online, where you will find courses for every area of organ playing, including technique, practice, sight reading, repertoire playing, hymn playing, improvisation, composition, music theory and harmony, with hundreds of scores and thousands of exercises. Here is what some of the students are saying.
Hugh writes, "The sight reading course has helped me tremendously. Thank you very much for your essays, courses and all your help."
Robert writes, "I found the fingerings, registration ideas and general comments to be excellent."
John writes, "I have found your download very helpful. It was really excellent. I have watched some of your teaching videos, and when I read your instructions, I tried to imagine you were teaching me. You may feel disappointed that I am 2-3 days behind, but I am a slow learner, and I have committed to taking the time to get it right, as you say. But the other night my wife commented that she had never heard me play such a detailed melody in the left hand so well. My left hand is generally poor."
Robert writes, "It has been a great pleasure in my life of having discovered your courses and material as well as the YouTube work of recordings. You have a calm and pleasant way of teaching."
Ron writes, "Hi Vidas and Ausra, thank you guys. What a wonderful response to my email note to you. You've got me right, and I feel you understand my level of playing. Yes, at home and lucky that I have an organ for that reason. I am paying attention to this, and I am going to try this haha no longer secret model. Yes, and I love Cesar Frank too. What is very nice about your blog podcast is that Ausra and Vidas are like a Socratic dialogue, and by bouncing things off of each other, so much more information comes out and is expressed. Your comments contain a wealth of information and understanding. I really appreciate this. It is very inspiring and will keep us moving forward."
Would you like to receive the same or even better results that our students are getting? If so, join them at organduo.lt/total-organist. And of course, you will get the first month free too. You can cancel anytime.
Also, if you haven't yet subscribed to receive free updates of this blog, make sure you do that at organduo.lt. By subscribing, you will also receive free video, how to master any organ composition, and 10-day organ playing mini course.
This was Vidas.
And Ausra from Secrets of Organ Playing.
And remember, when you practice,
miracles happen.